"12 people arrested by the ICAC on suspicion of involvement in football-related corruption scandal." The government plans to build more garbage incinerators with the aim of ending the use of landfills. And a sneak peek of the new Immigration Department headquarters in Chungkwano. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Over the past 2 days, the Independent Commission Against Corruption, otherwise known as the ICAC, has arrested 12 people suspected of being involved in yet another football-related corruption scandal. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The city's anti-graft body has busted another organization suspected of being involved in football match fixing after a similar incident in May last year. Authorities have searched more than 20 locations over the past 2 days and made 12 arrests. Among those arrested include a coach from a Hong Kong Premier League team, as well as a midfielder and goalkeeper. Sources said they are members of North District FC. 6 suspects belong to the city's second division league, including 1 coach and 5 footballers. Reports said members of teams including Shamshui-Po Association and St. Joseph's Football Club are also involved. The ICAC pointed out the arrested North District FC coach and 1 footballer were already involved in football match-fixing activities back in 2021 when they belonged to a different team. The coach began recruiting players interested in match-fixing after joining North District FC, with those involved having received bribes of up to tens of thousands of dollars per match. The city's anti-corruption authorities said those involved in the fixed matches would give each other hidden signals, such as wearing their hats, taking off their jackets, or raising a water bottle. Some of the arrested placed bets of up to $1 million per season. The ICAC stressed the corruption scandal only involves individuals, and that the management of the city's football clubs are not to blame. Authorities said they have yet to arrest family members and friends of the arrested who have placed bets on the fixed matches, but emphasized they will conduct further investigations. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The government said it is maintaining its target to end the use of landfills by 2035. That's despite the recent suspension of the municipal solid waste charging scheme. Authorities noted they will increase the number of rubbish incinerators in the city, including in areas such as the northern metropolis. One such facility is being constructed at Shek Kwu Chau near Chung Chau. The facility is estimated to enter into service next year at the earliest. Authorities are considering Tsang Tsoi in Tuen Mun as another location to construct a similar facility. The government is looking into the possibility of building a third incinerator in the future northern metropolis. The new headquarters of the Immigration Department in Chungkwano will be put into service on June 11th. Mimo Singai went there to take a look today.
This is the new headquarters of the Immigration Department. There are 2 towers, one for administration and one for enforcement, with a total floor area of 57,400 square meters. Starting from June 11th, members of the public can go to the new administration tower for most of the services that they now get at the Wan Chai headquarters. The tower has multiple sections, including one that handles services for foreign domestic helpers and an information and liaison section, which acts like a reception. A marriage registry is also located in the headquarters. There is a marriage hall for couples to hold their wedding registration ceremony. The color of the background can be changed to enhance the atmosphere. There are also 2 rooms for brides to get ready before their big moment. A heart-shaped photo spot is also provided for the newlyweds. This is one of the 44 personal documentation submission kiosks in the building. While passport and Hong Kong identity card applications can be done using machines, the Immigration Department says the ID card service will not be ready for June.
For the submission kiosks, and because we still need to have some legislative amendment, so at the current time, our submission kiosk will provide some basic application until we have finished those legislative amendments. by that time, the eligible applicant can apply for their Hong Kong identity card.
With the new headquarters being established in Jianguano, the flow of people in the area is expected to increase. A second district councillor hopes the government will enhance the public transport system so that members of the public can reach the new site more easily.
We would like to urge the government to improve our local and transportation, such as increase the bus frequency.
Zhang added that the authorities can set up more signs in the surrounding area to guide the public, especially people with special needs. News 9, TVB News.
Jurors in Donald Trump's hush money trial are expected to begin deliberations today before reaching a verdict in the first criminal case against a former U.S. president. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records to cover up a payment to an adult movie actress shortly before the 2016 presidential election. The Manhattan Criminal Court was told that the payment was meant to buy her silence about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump. NBC has more.
Tonight, the first trial of an American president soon in the hands of 7 men and 5 women. Prosecutors closing their case arguing former President Trump orchestrated a criminal conspiracy to influence the 2016 election, to pull the wool over voters' eyes, they say, by ordering the payoff of Stormy Daniels and then covering it all up. Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass trying to establish a pattern of Mr. Trump burying damaging stories that could derail his 2016 campaign, pointing to a key conversation secretly recorded by Mr. Trump's then attorney, Michael Cohen, the star prosecution witness, where Mr. Trump discussed an alleged payoff of a different woman, Steinglass calling it jaw-dropping.
So what are we going to pay? Funding, yes. And it's all the stuff.
But much of closings today focused on the credibility of Cohen. Quote, "We didn't pick him up at the witness store. The defendant chose Michael Cohen," Steinglass said, acknowledging Cohen's criminal history and admitted lies under oath, but telling jurors, you don't need Michael Cohen to connect these dots, but as the ultimate insider, he can do just that. The defense has also tried to discredit Cohen as motivated to lie, desperate to put Mr. Trump behind bars, pointing to Cohen's own podcasts.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. And you better believe I want this man to go down and rot inside for what he did to me and my family.
But Steinglass took that head on, arguing today Cohen is understandably angry because Mr. Trump dropped him like a hot potato after the feds came calling in 2018, urging jurors to see this case not about Michael Cohen, it's about Donald Trump. In his closing arguments, Trump attorney Todd Blanche tore into the prosecution's case and its reliance on Cohen's testimony, blasting Cohen as the human embodiment of reasonable doubt, branding him the gloat, the greatest liar of all time, and the MVP of liars, saying he lied to Congress, judges, prosecutors, bankers, his family. Blanche striking at the heart of the 34 low-level felony counts Mr. Trump faces for allegedly falsifying his business records, arguing none of the invoices, vouchers, or checks were false, saying the legal retainer language on the records wasn't criminal or sinister, but merely generated by accounting software at the Trump Organization, and there was nothing wrong with it. President Trump is innocent, Blanche said. There is no crime, period.
Staying in the United States, an F-35 fighter jet crashed Tuesday near the international airport in Albuquerque, New Mexico's largest city. The crash sent dark plumes of smoke into the air. The military jet was on its way to Edwards Air Force Base near Los Angeles in California. The pilot was injured after ejecting from the plane before it crashed on a hillside to the south of Albuquerque's airport. Still ahead, Zelensky receives more promises of military aid during a tour of EU countries. And the first charter flight to Hong Kong using the C919 passenger jet this Saturday. Welcome back. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky received a second $1 billion promise of military aid in as many days during a whirlwind tour of 3 European Union countries. Zelensky has been on a 2-day tour of Spain, Belgium, and Portugal to drum up support for Kiev's war effort against Russia. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin warned targeting Russian soil with Western-supplied weapons could set the conflict on a dangerous new path. Daniel Rell tells us more.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a bilateral security agreement with Belgium during his visit to the country on Tuesday. Belgium pledged $1 billion of military aid as well as a commitment to give Ukraine 30 F-16 fighter jets in the next 4 years. It came amid a meeting of European Union defence ministers in Brussels to attempt once again to overcome Hungary's objections to providing billions of euros in military aid to Kyiv. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg told reporters that despite some progress in delivering arms to Ukraine, more military aid is urgently needed, highlighting the current escalated conflict in Kharkiv.
The most urgent need now is more air defense, and we are working with NATO allies, many of them are also, of course, EU members, on stepping up the delivery of ammunition, air defense systems, and in particular the most advanced ones, the Patriot systems. So we have seen some progress, but more progress, more air defense systems are urgently needed in Ukraine. The most heavy fighting is now taking place in the Kharkiv region, close to the Ukrainian-Russian border, and in part the border is actually the front line.
Before returning to Ukraine, Zelensky visited Portugal, where he signed another bilateral agreement on security cooperation. Portugal is one of Western Europe's poorest countries and has a small military compared with its bigger EU partners. However, Portuguese Prime Minister Luís Montenegro said his country is sending a further €126 million in military and financial aid to Kyiv as part of a broad cooperation plan. Elsewhere, commenting on the West's continued support for Ukraine during a trip to Uzbekistan, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the use of Western-supplied long-range weapons by Kyiv to strike Russian territory could bring about dangerous escalation in the conflict. Danaral, TVB News.
The Georgian parliament overrode a presidential veto of a bill on foreign influence on Tuesday. This has continuously stirred massive protests in the country amid Western criticism that calls the bill authoritarian and Russian-inspired. The bill still needs presidential endorsement within 5 days before it is officially signed into law. The Georgian president, in opposition, has called on a referendum against the bill. Danny Joe reports.
Huge throngs of protesters blocked the streets and gathered outside the Parliament building in Georgia's capital city in the last round of weeks-long protests. People were seen carrying Georgian and European Union flags as well as placards in a bid to decry a divisive foreign agents bill. The bill, formerly known as the Law on Transparency of Foreign Influence, requires media, non-governmental organizations and other non-profit groups to register as pursuing the interests of foreign power if they receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad. President Salome Zurabishvili vetoed the bill on the 18th of May, but on Tuesday, the parliament, which is ruled by Bezina Ivanishvili's Georgian Dream Party, rejected a veto by an 84-4 vote. The government says the bill is needed to stem what it deems to be harmful foreign actors trying to destabilize the country. Prime Minister Irakli Kobakiej voiced his support for the bill, saying it will promote Georgia's depolarization and EU integration. Georgia, which is a former Soviet state, has long been one of the most pro-West among its clan. The opposition, who dubs the bill as the Russian law, says it will repress media freedom and impede Georgia's long-sought prospects of joining the EU and becoming a full member of the free and democratic world.
The foreign policy doctrine of Ivanishvili is very detrimental and egregious for Georgia. Probably the window for the integration of to European Union will be closed, and of course it is very much important to underline that these people will never gonna stop, and these people will never gonna let Ivanishvili to drag Georgia into the Russian swamp again.
In a video address, President Zurabishvili has called on citizens to collect signatures for a referendum against the bill. Meanwhile, the EU also said in a statement that it deeply regrets the Georgian parliament's decision and was considering all options to react to these developments. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The landmark national security trial involving 47 pan-Democrats will see the latest verdicts handed down for 16 of them later this week. Here's a review of the case's background from Jackie Lin.
31 of the 47 defendants pleaded guilty to conspiring to commit subversion. They include Benny Tai, a former associate law professor of the University of Hong Kong. 16 other defendants pleaded not guilty. After 100 days of trial, the court is set to hand down its latest verdict for these 16. The Democrats were arrested in 2021 for organizing the 35-plus primaries in a bid to win a majority in the 2020 Legislative Council election so as to make the government answer to their 5 demands. Among them, Benny Tai drafted the 10-step to mutual destruction plan. It included plans to veto the government budget indiscriminately, and under the Basic Law, if the budget is vetoed twice, the chief executive will have to dissolve the legislature. And if the re-elected legislature once again vetoes the budget, the city leader will have to resign. While no one officially signed up for the plan, some said they would veto the budget in an online declaration titled Resolute Resistance, Inked Without Regret. After the national security law took effect in June 2020, the primaries were held from July 11th to 12th. In early 2021, National Security Police arrested 55 people. 47 of them were charged. Most were denied bail and have remained in custody for more than 3 years. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The mainland's homegrown passenger jet C919 will fly to Hong Kong from Shanghai on Saturday. This is the first charter flight to the city using the C919 after it entered service with China Eastern Airlines. Mimo Singhai reports.
In December last year, a C919 plane visited Hong Kong for the first time. The aircraft will visit the city again on Saturday for a charter flight. The plane will depart from Hongqiao International Airport in Shanghai and is expected to arrive in the SAR at 11:20 a.m. It will return to Shanghai on the same day after picking up a group of young passengers. Warren Jin, deputy chairman of the aircraft division of the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers, said the design of the city's airport can handle most aircraft models because modern-day plane sizes do not surpass that of the Airbus A380. Jim said engineers are required to hold special licenses to maintain different aircraft models. He added that the C919 flying into Hong Kong this Saturday will have its own engineers on board the aircraft. Mings 9, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Good night.